जय जय राम श्री राम जय जय राम ओम श्री राम जय जय राम श्री राम जय राम श्री राम जय जय राम श्री राम जय राम श्री राम जय राम ओम श्री राम जय राम ओम श्री राम जय राम ओ श्री राम जय राम ओम श्री राम जय राम ओ श्री राम जय राम ओम श्री राम जय राम ओ श्री राम जय राम ओम श्री राम जय राम ओ 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 श्री राम जय राम ओम 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 श्री राम जय राम ओ श्री राम जय राम ओम श्री राम जय राम ओ श्री राम जय राम ओम श्री राम जय राम ओ 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 श्री राम जय राम ओम 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 श्री राम जय राम ओ श्री राम जय राम ओम श्री राम जय राम ओ श्री राम जय राम ओम श्री राम जय राम श्री राम जय राम श्री राम जय राम श्री राम जय राम ओम 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 श्री राम जय राम श्री राम जय राम ओम 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 श्री राम जय 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 राम ओम श्री राम जय राम 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 ओम श्री राम जय राम जय 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 जय राम ओम श्री राम राम जय जय राम ओम श्री राम जय 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 राम जय जय राम ओम श्री राम
Shri Ram, Jai Jai Ramo. 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 Shri Ram, Jai Jai Rama. Om Shri Ram, Jai Ram. We thought for a change, we will go through a couple of slokas in Srimad Bhagavad Gita. Normally, we are identifying ourselves as devotees, bhaktas. So, Srimad Bhagavad Gita has categorized 4 types of bhaktas. So, we have to find out for ourselves in which category we belong. Chaturvida bhajante mam jana. They are all of the worldly category, yet it does not matter. They are slowly connecting themselves from avidya maya to vidya maya. So this little movement upwards must be encouraged. These are the first 3, Artha, Jignaasu, Artharthee. This only shows the highly generous character of the teacher and his teaching that is given here. Then Jnanee cha, the last is Jnanee, the spiritual seeker and knower. This the wonderful human being who loves God for love's sake. He or she knows fully the nature of the divine. His or her whole heart is given to the divine. Such a person is called a Jnani. Here Jnani includes also bhakta. The highest jnana and the highest bhakti are the same, perfectly free from the clutches of Maya. Therefore, the word jnana is used here not in the usual technical sense, but in the general sense. These are the four types of devotees of the divine. In the Srimad Bhagavatam, no, we have heard this much now. Let us do some pondering. So, in which category do I belong? We are asking ourselves. Whenever we are in trouble, we used to think of him. Are we immediately forgetting him the moment the trouble is free? Or we are free from the troubles? We are in deep distress, we pray to him. Many people write to us or telephone to us, no? Seeking Papa's blessings. It may look worldly, but doesn't matter. At least we have accepted there is a higher authority to whom we can plead, appeal, and place our problems. Then the next one is Jignaasu. That is why we are all here now. No? Something for us to know. We are chanting Ram Nam. Why are we chanting Ram Nam? To remember him. To remember for what? Why should we remember him? He is behind everything. How do I know that he is behind everything? This is how you know Jignaasu. How does Ram Nam help me? A chanting of Ram Nam help me to remember him? I have faith, but at the same time, the probing nature is still there for me. How do I surrender to him? No? Very difficult for me to surrender. How do I surrender to him? How do I bring him into my workaday life? Jignaasu. Then the next is Artha. People in search of wealth. Such a person also thinks of God. When we started thinking about it deeply, initially, we would say, why they are asking all these things to God? They know it is all perishable. One day it will come to us, next day it will go. But again, why are they? It is not like that. The only thing is, it should not be self-centered, that's all. Suppose I have a project in my mind. If the project becomes a reality, a factory or a production center, indirectly and directly, we are initiating a lot of economic activities for the welfare of the others. We may not even know that. One person, one of the devotees, who is running a very big industrial establishment, whenever we meet him, his only concern is, I am only worried about my 2,000-3,000 employees, If the business goes down, what will happen to them? It is not self-centered. It is very much mixed with material activities, but still, he is on a higher level. So nothing wrong. Whenever the wealth comes, if it is exclusively for me, then it is right. It may not help me much. But when I am praying for his blessings, to convert a barren land into a productive land, But all economic activities start. How many are benefited? Not merely the laborers, their families, the person who sells the implements, the person who sells the seeds, indirectly, technically I may be building up an estate, but in effect, it is also catering to the welfare activities of so many people. So that is why he said nothing wrong. It will slowly connect you. That word is beautiful. This only shows the highly generous character of the teacher. A seeker also is a devotee. Seeker of knowledge is a devotee of the divine. They are slowly connecting themselves from avidya maya to vidya maya. These are all avidya maya, okay. In the sense, transitory. After some time, after getting all these things, I may not be there. Or the thing may also change. We start, in Papa's case, that, how he got employment, how then he loses the employment, again he gets the employment, loses the employment, shifts the family from different places. There is no harmony, there is nothing, everywhere it is tensed up. Finally, his father-in-law asked him to join his business in Mangalore. Initially, it was thriving. Later, it also was a failure. Ultimately, the relationship also got strained. Finally, he started the Sitaram Vittal Rao company. Initially, it was thriving. Again, it started failing. Ended with mounting liabilities. It is always subject to ups and downs. But ultimately, when the friend came forward to Papa, that I will take over your liabilities, I will take over your establishment, I will handle administration and accounts, you handle the technical side. It was helping so many people, working there. Here also, Papa Mataji started the Udyog-shala. Apparently, it is a material activity, a school, a hospital. So then we understand that Artha only for me, that may not be good for a devotee. So initially I asked, later on I should slowly connect myself up. He is the great provider, providing to everybody, and I am asking him to provide something. Can I limit myself only to me and mine? So these are some of the thoughts that well up when we go through this stanza. There is the story of the father of poet Rabindranath Tagore, namely Devendranath Tagore. He was a good scholar and a very rich zamindar. He was just sitting. He tells in his biography, I think in Darjeeling or in his estate enjoying the quiet evening, a wind brought a small piece of paper towards his feet. He just picked up that paper, read in it something which turned out to be the famous first verse of the Isha Upanishad. He read it, became inspired by it, his whole life changed. What was that verse? Ishavashyamidam sarvam yatkinjya jagatyam jagad tena tektyena bujjida magrita kasya siddhanam. Everything in the manifested universe should be filled with the divine. This inspired him to conduct further studies, and he gave that Vedic background to the Brahma Samaj movement of Calcutta, of which he was the leader at that time after the death of Rajaram Mohan Rai, whom he had helped in founding the movement. That is the story of Devendranath Tagore. There are many, many further instances of this edrichya. By chance you hear a story about the divine, and faith in the divine is born in you. In Srimad Bhagavatam, in the 11th book, there is one famous shloka. How does a man become God's devotee? There Sri Krishna says, by chance, a very worldly person heard a talk about the divine and a little interest in God grew in him or her at that time. He or she is still very attached to the world, attached to power or money, but a little love of God entered into the mind. He or she has not the spirit of renunciation, but he or she is not over-attached also to the world. Such a person is a candidate to the path of bhakti. Bhakti yoga leads one to the highest perfection. How? By chance going to the road, he or she hears there is a talk going on or a bhajan going on. He or she just enters and hears the spiritual talk without any particular objective. Some higher thought arises in his or her mind, a little spiritual awakening, a little spiritual feeling. That person has started his or her march on the path of bhakti. Such a person who is still full of worldly attachment has very little renunciation, but still he or she has entered the path of bhakti, which will take him or her finally to realization. Even yadrichya, the word yadrichya is very important. By chance. Sometimes in an unplanned way, you get spiritual inspiration. So many stories are there how lives were changed by some chance experiences. We all know, even beloved Papa has written that when he happened to see Gandhiji at a distance, he said that was the first spiritual touch. Just one darshan. Our mind has become mature enough, or you can say it has become pakka. And the moment we hear about something, we see a Mahatma, it triggers. Not that we have renounced anything. Beautifully he mentions, he slowly it has entered into, but a little love of God entered into the mind. Some higher thought arises in his or her mind, a little spiritual awakening, a little spiritual feeling. That person has started his or her march on the path of bhakti. There are many further instances of this yadrichya. By chance you hear a story about the divine, and faith in the divine is born in you. Many people come here, new people. When they come to our room after visiting Bhajan Hall, the moment they see Mataji's, they used to, tears will come. And they say, we don't know why. When they see Papa's, that is enough, they will come and ask. They don't know anything about ashram. The beaming face of Papa. From there they start. So here Sri Krishna says that among these four categories, Jnani, the fourth one, is something special. He or she loves God in spirit and in truth. That is why that person is the highest. In the next sloka, Sri Krishna gives the highest tribute to that category. Tesham Jnani Nityayukta Eka Bhaktir Vishishyate Priyohi Jnanino Tyartham Ahamsa Cha Mama Priya. Of them, the Jnani, the wise person, ever steadfast, with devotion is the one who excels. For supremely dear am I to the Jnani, and he or she also is dear to me. Among all of them, the Jnani is Nityayukta, constantly a yogi. Not a 5-minute yogi who then gives it up, just like an Artha. Arthas are generally religiously inclined when they are in trouble, When the trouble is over, they no more think of God. This is called Artharthee. Even in respect to them, Sri Krishna is very generous. Even he or she is good because he or she has also thought of the higher reality beyond Maya. Eka Bhakti, Ekanta Bhakti. These are wonderful expressions in the science of Bhakti. The great book on Bhakti, the Narada Bhakti Sutra, says, Vishishyate is most excellent among all the four. To the Jnani, I am very, very dear. Sri Krishna as an incarnation of the divine uses aham. He or she also is very dear to me. I love such a person very much. He or she also loves me very much. There is no separation between us. So that is the nature of the highest bhakti or the highest jnana. For example, a boy like Prahlada, whose story is narrated in the Srimad Bhagavatam, 7th book, never wanted anything from the divine. He wanted only pure love. Love for love's sake only. The Lord was very pleased with that little child of 5 years old. In the presence of the Lord who incarnated as the Narasimha, the man-lion, everyone was frightened seeing the form of Narasimha. The only person who was absolutely fearless and calm was this boy Prahlada. Because his heart was free from all evil, from all Maya, and was absolutely pure. The merciful Bhagavan, Narasimha, offered a boon to Prahlada because his father Hiranyakashipu had troubled this boy very much. So Narasimha said, Prahlada, ask a boon from me, I am pleased with you. O Prahlada, may good betide you, I am very pleased with you, the best among the asuras. Then he said, ask any boon from me, I will be happy to give you. And this boy says, I am not a businessman to trade in love and bhakti. My bhakti is one-pointed. I don't ask anything in return. He uses the word, I am not a vanik, trader or merchant or a trader in bhakti. That is why Prahlada dominates the bhakti thought of India as a pure devotee of God. So here, Priyohi Jnaninyo Tyartam. He is dear to me, I am also dear to him. That is the language Sri Krishna has used regarding the fourth category. But the next sloka shows the generosity of the heart of Krishna. Udara sarva evaide jnani tvatmeva me matam astita sahi yuktatma mame vanuttamam gati. Noble indeed are they. Noble indeed are they all. But Jnani or wise person I regard as my very self. For with the mind steadfast, he or she is established in me alone as the supreme goal. All these four are udharas, noble-minded. Udharata is noble-mindedness, a wonderful word in Sanskrit. A famous Sanskrit sloka says, this is one's own, that is another, is the attitude of the small-minded. But to the noble-minded, the whole world is one's own family. This spiritual unity of all humanity makes the whole world a Vasudha, a Kudumba. Vasudhaiva Kudumbakam, we have heard. This is an ancient idea repeated again and again in our literature from Vedas. Here Sri Krishna says, all these four devotees are noble-minded, udaraha, though the first one is selfish and wants God only to get something from him. He uses God, he does not love him. Even then Sri Krishna says, you are noble-minded. What a wonderful idea. Udara sarva evaide. But Jnani tu atmaiva me matam. So far as Jnani is concerned, he is my very self. Jnani is steadfast. He or she is established in me alone as the supreme goal. This is the status of the pure Jnani or of the pure bhakta. And I repeat once again what Sri Ramakrishna said, pure bhakti, pure jnana are one and the same. All differences vanish there. The Lord alone is. That is the nature of the highest jnana and bhakti. This is a great truth. Here also we remember Papa's explanation about Jnanottara Bhakti. Papa's spiritual approach has been founded on this. It is based on Jnanam. But as we keep on going up and up in Jnanam, we may feel dry because there is no other. But in Bhakti, there are two, Bhakta and Bhagavan. Then only the sweetness can be enjoyed. If there is only one, who will enjoy the sweetness? That is why Papa, though he took Jnanam as the main one, he was able to develop this relationship with the Almighty. The sense of individuality and the indwelling reality. So long as we have got a body, there is an embodied self. It is separate from the indwelling reality which is seated within, indwelling spirit. The spirit is there, the sense of individuality is also there. To know that this is the spirit that is activating the sense of individuality, we need jnanam. So with the help of jnanam, we understand this, and then the sense of individuality surrenders to the indwelling reality, or trying to surrender. In our case, when we are chanting the name, he always talks about the sweetness, sweetness, sweetness. The sweetness comes out of the union. When he is chanting the Ram, there is no differentiation between the sense of individuality and Ram. The sense of individuality realizes that it has come from Ram only. There is no other. Only when the otherness comes, all problems come. So that was his approach. The same thing is repeated here. Pure bhakti and pure jnana are one and the same. All differences vanish there. The Lord alone is. That is the nature of the highest jnana and bhakti. The next sloka gives you a wonderful thought. How do you get this highest attitude? You may have to work for it in many lives. Struggle, struggle, struggle. Eventually you will get to that state. It does not come straight away. It is not by magic one gets this state. So I just read the next sloka. I just read the next sloka, which introduces us to this idea. Build up the spiritual life little bit. That is why the moment we were about to come, we just went to the shelf and prompting came to take this particular volume. There are 3 volumes, this particular volume. We just opened. This page came. This is exactly we all want to do it. What is that? Build up the spiritual life little by little. We may not be able to do with all our baggage in our back. It may be difficult, but at the same time, there is an inner desire in us, inner aspiration in us. We have faith in Papa, we have faith in Ramna, we have faith in spirituality, everything is there. But still, we are unable to take it up on a full-time basis, or more time cannot be set apart for it. Something pulls us up. So here he says, I just read the next sloka which introduces us to this idea. Build up the spiritual life little by little. What a beautiful idea. From boyhood to or girlhood, a boy or a girl of 10 tries to be spiritual little by little, like those insects those particular creatures in the ocean in the coral island, from the bottom of the sea up to the top, they have built up the coral islands. Bahunam janmanam ante Jnanavan mam prapadyate Vasudeva sarvamili sa mahatma sadurlabha. At the end of many births, the man or woman of jnana or wisdom takes refuge in me, realizing that all this is Vasudeva, Sri Krishna, or one of the innermost self of all. Very rare is that great soul. After repeated births, struggling to perfect oneself, in the final life one realizes the supreme truth, Vasudeva Sarvamiti. That everything is Vasudeva, the Lord is there in everything. But such a devotee is very rare, very rare. That is the language here. It's a very high state of perfection. But everywhere there have been somebody or the other to achieve this perfection. Just like what we find among those climbing the Mount Everest. Only a few have succeeded so far. Similarly, there is a Mount Everest of spiritual experience, seeing the Lord in everything inside and outside, and that is what this sloka says. After defining four types of devotees, Artha, Jignaasu, Artharthee, Jnanee, Sri Krishna says they are all fine, they are all noble-minded, Udara Sarva Eveda. Even those who worship me for getting worldly advantages, even they are Udara, noble-minded. Jnani tu Atmaiva me matam. But the Jnani is my very self. Having said this, in verse 19, he says, when you practice spiritual life, you gain something by the time life is over. So this is what we want, None of us, many of us are in the evenings of life. We don't know when the call will come. So what do we equip ourselves with it? Papa has provided all these facilities for us to remember him. But we are not sure whether during this particular life we will be able to realize the ultimate. So here, we don't have to feel dispirited. Here he says, when you practice spiritual life, you gain something by the time life is over. Something. You are dead and gone, but your samskaras or innate tendencies is your subtle body, in your subtle body again. Then you get another birth, continuing the struggle, building up something more. Therefore the Lord says, Bahunam Janmanam Ante. At the end of many births, in life after life, he or she has been striving to achieve the highest realization. And the Jnani comes to this realization in the final stage, in the last birth. What is this realization? Vasudeva Sarvamiti. The whole universe is Vasudeva. Many of you will remember, our Hare Rama group. Whenever there is a gap, they will say, Vasudeva. Vasudeva. It's nice to hear. For a second or a split second, we feel Vasudeva Sarvamiti. The one who resides in me, somebody told us, that is the meaning. Vasikya means, residing. The one who is residing in everybody is called Vasudeva. And Vasudeva, he is there in everybody. So these Ararama people, they may not be able to say anything, any philosophy or lecture, but in a simple word, heart full of devotion, when they stop the chanting or during in between, immediately you will say, Vasudeva, Vasudeva. Vasudeva Sarvamiti. Beautiful. What is that realization? Vasudeva Sarvamiti. The whole universe is Vasudeva. That is primordial, divine, pure consciousness, whom we call Brahman, Atman, Vishnu, Adishakti, or by various other names, but the truth is one and the same. And the whole universe is nothing but the manifestation of the absolute reality. We call it Vasudeva in the Bhakti religion. Vasudeva, Narayana, all these are various words meaning the same reality. This is the highest realization. such a person is rare. Swami Vivekananda said, if a society has not produced any such people, the society is doomed. It has no direction. It will slowly decay and disappear. But if there are a few such, they will show you the way. Then you can be sure that the culture in the society will be permanent and steady. Such a society knows how to renew itself because it has the living example before it. This is the concept of this particular expression, Vasudeva Sarvamiti. Everything is Vasudeva. The whole world is Brahmamayam, filled with Brahman. In our time, you find Ramakrishna saying the gospel of Sri Ramakrishna. I see everything in front of me as Narayana. To Papa, it was all Ram, Ram, Ram. Ram means the subtle and mysterious power. When you go through the poems, the first, you got that? Poem? No, don't worry. Poem, first few poems start with I only. I am this, I am that. Total identification with Ram. If you just open, I am totally He. I became free. I am the causeless cause. I exist as all. I am the Supreme One, the cosmic I play on. I see myself as all. I dance on the crust. I regain my kingdom. I am totally He. I am love struck. I find Him everywhere. I am a bee, thy feet the flower. I am the cause. I am perfection. I am His tool. I am the tool. I am His tool. I am the tool. I am His expression. I found my mother. I know the mystery. I dwell in the joy. I am form and formless. I am thyself. I am you. Like that, every time he raises himself to the cosmic level. So I see everything in front of me as Narayana. Every wave in the ocean is a pulsation of the ocean. The ocean is real. These pulsations come and go, but knowledge of the ocean is the supreme truth about the ocean and about the wave. In this universe of ours, that infinite Brahman, that Vasudeva, that pure consciousness has manifested in these millions of forms. Among other manifestations, there are these human forms. In the Srimad Bhagavatam, it is mentioned that after creation, there came many types of entities in the universe in the course of evolution, cosmic as well as organic. Finally, Brahman, the Supreme Consciousness, evolved to the human form, and then the divine reality was very happy. The Srimad Bhagavatam gives the reason for this happiness because in this form, there is the organic capacity to realize Brahman, the very source of the universe and human being. That speaks of the highest uniqueness of the human being. Only through a human form we can go to the upper one. That is why our Shastras keep on reminding us. Swami Ranganathananda Maharaj himself says in Vivek Chudamani, after so many births, you have paid this costly currency in the form of virtuous deeds, to get this ship. Because only this ship is human birth. That is, this ship alone can take you from this shore to the other shore, from the transient to the eternal. You have paid costly currency to get this ship. That means we have paid through our nose to get this human birth. So should we be complacent? He said the urgency is there. Before the ship, this ship is going to be wrecked. it is subject to destruction. Before it develops holes, we have to cross the ocean. Urgency, he says that. Similarly here, he says, it is mentioned that after creation there came many types of entities in the universe in the course of evolution. Finally, Brahman, the Supreme Consciousness, evolved a human form. And the reality, the divine reality, cosmic reality was very happy because in this form there is the organic capacity to realize Brahman, the very source of the universe and human beings. That's a wonderful statement. So the sentence Vasudeva Sarvamidhi is important. That realization comes to us in our last birth. So we are praying, why don't you make it as our last birth, please? Enough is enough. By perfecting ourselves life after life, in the last birth everything is ready. Just a little last effort and just a little effort, realization comes. That is called the last birth of a human being. He or she then realizes the supreme truth. Such great people are very rare. Sa Mahatma, Sa Durlabha. Every time there is somebody like that living in this great country, but we may not be able to recognize him or her. Sometimes we can, mostly we cannot. Sri Krishna himself will say so. Sarvam Brahmamayam, Sarvam Vasudevamayam. Everything is Brahman, everything is Vasudeva Krishna. These are the words we use in our literature. So in this sloka, we have got the highest type of spiritual realization. Everything is Brahman, everything is the ultimate truth. This particular human being, giving up this particularity, the ego could realize it. That is the ultimate realization. The last word in spiritual realization is this. Now, we were reading a few slokas. We were reading the words of wisdom given by Swami Ranganathananda Maharaj as a part of his commentary. So which are the ones which stand out in our memory now? Let us find out. There are so many, Do not worry about the chronological order. Today, Papa facilitated us to hear these slokas, the meaning. So we are trying to find out which stands out in our mind. Four types of bhaktas, okay. So we are trying to find out, to which I belong. Prahlada story. Prahlada story means here when the Lord asks him the boon, he says, I have not come here to do business. Only your kripa, bas. Then Ishavashyamidam sarvam. Yes. Then Vasudeva. Easy for us to remember. No? You see now, Papa facilitated us to have these Hare Rama for so many years, but still we may forget everything. But this word you will not forget. Especially, what is his name? No, the person. Who passed away, no? He was in Hyderabad. Even when during our Satsang in Mushirabad he came, as soon as he comes, he is Vasudeva. Yes, then, so Vasudeva, that now gives us a lot of meaning, Previously we were just repeating it. And there is a joy in it. We would not have gone deep into that word. Now we know, oh, it is there in Srimad Bhagavad Gita, Vasudeva Sarvamiti. Vasudeva, Vasudeva, Vasudeva. The one who resides in everybody. Then.
Build up shipwreck.
Ship, yeah. But this human body is like a ship. We have paid costly currency, this is the word he used. That means so many virtuous deeds against so many odds we withstood. Let us not take it as easy. All of us who are sitting here, we have paid, unknowing, we don't know that, how much we have paid through holding on to the virtuous things. And finally we got this human body. And this is the platform from which we can go to him. That we should not lose this. We should not lose this opportunity. So even if it is not possible for us to scale the heights in this birth, if we try to accumulate good samskaras by repeating the name of God, by attending bhajan, by attending satsang, by having the darshan of Mahatmas, by hearing the wisdom teachings, it will not go in vain. We are in his own word, we are slowly building it up. Knowingly or unknowingly, we are building it up. It's a very, very assuring word, Suddenly we realize we are sitting and hearing this only because of our past samskara. And that samskara is getting added with this samskara. If not in this birth, we are sure to get it in the next birth. That is why he is now providing us. You must try in this birth, but we don't know when. But at least, if not in this, we must get it in next. Yes, it's a very powerful message for all of us. Then, anything else?
Your bhakti, your
Jnana and bhakti. Papa's Jnanottara bhakti. To know that he is the indwelling reality, to know that he is the life force, to know that he is the awareness absolute, to know that he is supreme intelligence. They are all nirguna, Jnana. But at the same time, we have a sense of individuality until this merging takes place. So the indwelling reality is named as Bhagavan, and the sense of individuality is named as bhakta. So there is a harmonious relationship with bhakta and Bhagavan. Ultimately, when we analyze, everything is one and the same. So Ramakrishna Paramahamsa, he said, Jnana and bhakti are one. In the highest sense, Papa also says the same word. So we need not be worried about it. Normally, we people understand bhakti to a particular deity. This is where we have to apply our mind. Bhakti means bhakti to a particular deity or a form. But here Papa wants us to take it as the stepping stone and then transcend. Because even that Ishtadevata stands for the indwelling reality. Symbolically it is presented. And the Ishtadevata, we know that a form, the form of our Ishtadevata, which is carved out from a granite or a marble, to which we offer everything. It is the height of Nirguna, Vinobaji says, because it remains untouched, unaffected by anything. We put malas, we take out malas. We offer Naivedyam, we take it back and eat. Everything, we put and we clean. We do Abhishekam, we clean it. The deity will not say anything. Don't do this, don't do that. It remains untouched, unaffected, nirguna. But to us, it is saguna. So if we are in a position to understand, I cannot straight away worship a formless reality. So I need a form to worship. Papa says, perfectly all right. But you should be able to know that this form represents the formless. Then only it can become cosmic or universal. Yes, then?
Swamiji, the four types of devotees. The first one we said, when in trouble, remembering him. In Kannada, there is a saying, Sankara Bandaga Venkatamana.
ಸಂಕಟ ಬಂದಾಗ ವೆಂಕಟರಮಣ.
ಸಂಕಟ ಬಂದಿದ್ರೆ ವೆಂಕಟರಮಣ, ಇಲ್ಲದ್ರೆ ಇಲ್ಲ.
And in Jignaasu, most often found the kids, they will ask why you are liking this land, why you are doing this, why you are doing that. So those questions comes with the kids, but I don't know.
Correct. But that is okay. That is also, Vinobaji also says, don't condemn them, but they are at least approaching a higher authority, That means you are tacitly accepting that there is a higher authority than you. That could be the first step. It is the first step, because not could be, it is the first. When we were all children, mother used to say, before you go to the school, go to the puja room. So after bath, before going to school, we straight away go to the puja room and pray. We are not praying for God realization. We are praying for good marks. That is, and when we write the SSLC exam, how many times we go there? And before the result comes, how many times we go there? We also go to the toilet. Anxiety, But we remember. And that was the stepping stone, now we understand. People may say it is worldly, it's all right. We are worldly, so first we ask worldly only, and then we go from there to a higher level. So Sankara Vandidre Venkatramana is okay. Even here we will say, Sankara Harana Venkatramana. In that Arthee, Shivananda Ashram Arthee, it comes. Venkatramana Sankara Harana, yeah. When we go to the temple, when we see in Balaji's temple, maybe it may be for wealth or something like that, but still they are bhakti.
Only in Gospel of Ramdas, there is one best prayer mentioned, where the prayer says, don't answer my prayers because out of my tradition I have asked something.
Only you decide.
What you feel is right for me.
When we graduate ourselves to a higher level, all these things will come. Out of my habits I may pray, but don't give me, that will not help me to know you. Anything else? Good, so many points have come. Anything else? Yadrichya, This is something, one point. If we look back, probably 90% of us would have come to know about this higher life through any of these. In our case, we were telling, Shirdi Baba was the chosen deity, so mother used to say, Baba to Prarthana Pannuko, Namaskaram Pannuko, Udi, there's a Udi, we get prasad. Every month we religiously get from Shirdi, 1 rupee MO we sent, 1 rupee. Shirdi Sansthan of Sai Baba. And then from there we, Shirdi, Ahmednagar district, we remember, in the MO coupon we write, 1 rupee. And then next day, or in that particular week itself, we will get a small packet, small packet with udhi. And that will always be there, just like we give kumkum here, no? That will be religiously sent by the organizer there. And everywhere we apply this and then only we go. So that is how slowly they build up, yadrichya. At that time we were following what mother said. Later on we try to understand one by one. Similarly, many people have come here. Many people are in touch with various Mahatmas. They get connected with various ashrams or Mahatmas or temples. Because of this yadrichya, God will arrange something. Many temples, many temples. Somebody will say something about their anubhava, experience. That will stay with them. That will be the incentive for them to go to the deity. And proportionate to the bhakti or faith, they will also get some anubhava. And then it gets slowly solidified. Maybe not for God realization or broadening the love circle, but that itself, is the starting point. Suddenly we will remember, Balaji is attracting everybody, from different places. Oh, so he is not to me alone. So his widening is the one which makes me to go there. So ultimately he will come to realize. Initially he may ask for this and that, but ultimately he will know, no. Guruvayurappan is not limited to Guruvayur only. Person who hears about Guruvayur, person who hears about Balaji, who hears about Mukampika Devi, anywhere we find, each one must be having some experience, Otherwise he will not go again. Taking all the trouble to reach there, spending lot of money. Shabarimala, you should see that. One has to be in the queue at times for 2 hours, 3 hours, 4 hours. And one has to travel. Suppose you take a taxi or something. How much? Nowadays people they go by flight to Ernakulam or some other place, and from there they take. All and stand there. And just to have the darshan and then come back. So we find the sweetness of bhakti there. Something, he says, little by little.
Build up spiritual life little by little.
Some higher. Build up the spiritual life. So I just read the next. I just read the next sloka, which introduces us to this idea. Build up the spiritual life little by little. From boyhood or girlhood, a boy or a girl of 10 tries to be spiritual little by little. So that is why we are all sitting here, no? Let us become aware of this, what all have been provided by the all-loving God. Though we don't recognize, we don't know anything, still today He makes us to understand that you are hearing today this satsang because of that. The samskara which you have earned through your past life. So now let us all try to build up. And maybe we want to go at 100 mile speed, 100 kilometers, but it may be 10 or 20 or 30, doesn't matter. But still little by little we will build up. Hari Om. Om Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram Om. Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram Om. Sri 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 Ram, Jai Ram.